Right now on Morning News Now, Israel and Hamas are reportedly close to finalizing a deal to release dozens of hostages held captive in Gaza.
I believe we are closer than we have been in quite some time. Executing the deal would involve moving hostages around what is a very dangerous battlefield in Gaza.
Meanwhile, dozens of premature babies now closer to safety after being evacuated from Gaza's main hospital, still under heavy bombardment. And here at home, President Biden facing the fallout with historically low approval ratings over his response to the war. We have team coverage. Also this morning, America paying tribute to former First Lady Rosalynn Carter, who passed away over the weekend. We'll look back at her life, her legacy, and the love she shared with President Jimmy Carter. And tens of millions of travelers expected to fly to their Thanksgiving destinations this week. What you should know before you board. Plus, something to be thankful for. Your turkey dinner could cost you a little less this year. We will take a trip to the grocery store to see just how much you'll save and why. I did my big trip to the grocery store yesterday.
That's good. And you were alone, right? No one else was there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's totally quiet.
We are ordering it in and just reheating it. That makes it easier. Good morning. Good to have you with us on this Monday. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We're going to begin this morning with the Israel-Hamas war and that renewed hope in the ongoing hostage negotiations.
Sources familiar with the talks told NBC News that U.S., Israeli, and Hamas negotiators are nearing an agreement to release some of the hostages taken during Hamas's attack last month. The U.S., Qatar, and Egypt have been working on negotiations. No arrangements have been finalized yet, but Qatar's prime minister says significant progress has been made.
The sticking points, honestly, at this stage are more practical, logistical, not really something represent the core of the deal.
Well, those talks continue. The fighting in Gaza rages on. Hamas militants clashed yesterday with Israeli forces advancing into Gaza's largest refugee camp. And the situation in Gaza's main hospital has reached a dire turning point. The World Health Organization is now calling the medical facility a death zone.
We have full team coverage with all these latest developments. And first, we're going to begin with the negotiations and the Biden administration's response.
NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba joins us. So, Monica, what is the latest on the hostage negotiations? Is there a sense we're closer to a deal?
That's the sense, Joe and Savannah. And really the key word here is that there is a hope that this is able to coalesce. And this is something that U.S. officials have been tracking incredibly closely because, of course, as you mentioned, they have been involved with some of these other countries who are working on the details. But they don't want to announce or get ahead of anything until there is more progress to report. But we did get a sense from the administration yesterday from White House Deputy National Security Advisor John Feiner on Meet the Press that they are inching closer to that possibility. Take a listen to how he framed it.
And one of the things that the parties themselves have said, including publicly, is that this could and would likely include an extended period of a pause in the fighting, multiple-day period of a pause in the fighting. We think that would be both necessary to actually be able to execute the deal, because executing the deal would involve moving hostages around what is a very dangerous battlefield in Gaza. But it would also have the ancillary benefit, the important benefit of making it easier to distribute humanitarian assistance throughout Gaza.
So you heard there a reference to multiple days. There's reporting it could be as many as a 5-day pause to get out what could be dozens of hostages, but we simply don't know. And whether that would include women and children, again, that is the hope. But a lot still needs to come together before anything can be announced. And it was President himself who said in recent days he's mildly hopeful that this is going to happen. Joe and Savannah.
Monica, I want to ask you about a little bit more that we've heard from the president in this op-ed that he penned for the Washington Post. He was calling for a two-state solution, pledging this support for Israel, but also saying the Palestinian people deserve their own country free from Hamas. How is he suggesting Israel and the Palestinians move forward from this crisis?
Yeah, and this is what is so difficult and complicated because these conversations were, of course, already in progress before the terrorist attacks on October 7th. And now in terms of trying to discuss a durable or sustainable peace, that's something that diplomatically Secretary Blinken and others have been trying to speak to their counterparts to see about a way forward. And President Biden in this op-ed does write that as long as Hamas clings to its ideology of destruction, a ceasefire is not peace, essentially continuing this argument from the administration that a total ceasefire, stopping the fighting right now, would only benefit Hamas. And the way that he argues this in terms of a two-state solution is two peoples living side by side with equal measures of freedom, opportunity, and dignity is where the road to peace must lead. But of course, everybody can concede that that will take a long time potentially to get anywhere close to that.
And Monica, how is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu responding to that op-ed, which echoes so many who are calling for a two-state solution?
Well, over the weekend, we did hear from the prime minister, who essentially in this moment is saying, after everything that we have done militarily in Gaza, after everything Hamas has done, how could we hand over Gaza to the Palestinian Authority? And to go back in time and history a little bit, the Palestinian Authority did govern Gaza previously back in 2005 before Hamas took over in 2007. So Israel essentially here is arguing that they're afraid that if that were something that were to happen in the future, that history could repeat itself. So no easy answer here. This is just completely a difficult, thorny, and intractable issue, as we know. Joe and Savannah.
Monica Alba, thank you so much, Monica.
Thank you. Well, this morning there are fears a new Israeli siege may be starting at another hospital in Gaza. Israeli tanks are outside the Indonesian hospital that's in the northern part of the Strip. Earlier, Gazan health officials said 12 people were killed after an Israeli shell hit the second floor of the hospital. The facility ceased operations last week, but hundreds of patients and displaced people are still sheltering inside. NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin has the latest on this from Tel Aviv. Hey, Aaron, good morning. What can you tell us?
Hey, Savannah. Well, the Indonesian hospital in Gaza is funded and supported by the country of Indonesia, seen as a symbol of Indonesia's support for the Palestinian people. And this morning, the Indonesian foreign minister responding to the fighting that has now engulfed that hospital in a statement saying the attack is a clear violation of international humanitarian laws. All countries, especially those that have close relations with Israel, must use all of their influence and capabilities to urge Israel to stop its atrocities. Now, the Israeli military has yet to respond to our questions about that violence engulfing the Indonesian hospital, but they have long alleged that hospitals in Gaza are being exploited by Hamas. Just last night, unveiling evidence that the Israeli military alleges shows that the Al-Shifa hospital, which is the main hospital in Gaza, is being exploited by Hamas. The Israeli military released this footage, claiming to show the desperate moments terrorists took two hostages into Al-Shifa hospital, one by stretcher, the other dragged in, on the morning of the October 7th attacks. What happened next, we don't know. But the Israelis allege this footage shows a tunnel stretching more than 30 feet beneath the hospital complex, leading to this blast door, which the Israeli military says it has yet to open. NBC News has been unable to verify the claims that are part of the growing evidence the Israelis allege Hamas has been exploiting the Al-Shifa hospital for cover. The World Health Organization says that same hospital is now a death zone, having been surrounded and cut off by Israeli forces for nearly 2 weeks. They evacuated 31 premature babies, once given days to live in Al-Shifa, now being treated down south, though some of the babies didn't survive the trip.
As soon as we arrived there, unfortunately, 2 newborn babies were declared dead.
This weekend, the WHO and other aid groups visited the embattled hospital, noting the desperate conditions inside and the mass grave out front. The UN with this message for the hospital staff who risked everything.
That you continue to deliver the best possible care for your patients and their families is nothing short of heroic.
This as thousands of Gazans flee the continued violence in the north any way they can. But with the Israeli military increasing the pace of its assault on Hamas to the south, in Gaza, there's growing fear there's nowhere left to go. Now, in terms of the ongoing situation at Al-Shifa Hospital, according to the WHO, some 250 patients remain inside the hospital, as well as 20 medical staff. They say it could take days to fully evacuate that hospital. Guys.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much.
On the political front, an NBC News poll shows President Biden's approval rating has dropped to its lowest level since he took office nearly 3 years ago.
Yeah, the results reveal that only 40% of voters approve of how the president is running the country, down 6% since January. This comes as Democrats become increasingly split on how to handle the war between Israel and Hamas.
NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray joins us now for more on this. Mark, good morning. So a large reason why we're seeing a slip in the president's approval rating has to do right now with his handling of foreign policy, which is obviously in the headlines. Often we think domestic headlines drive popularity, but that's not always the case. Where have we seen this in past presidencies?
Yeah, and so, Joe, is in past presidencies, sometimes like when it came to the Iraq War for George W. Bush, or of course even going back to Vietnam for Lyndon Johnson, foreign affairs has taken tolls on presidents, but those have all involved U.S. troops. And what stands out in our poll, according to our pollsters, is this is a foreign policy matter that does not involve United States troops at all, but it has taken a toll on President Biden. We see his approval rating on foreign policy dropping to just 33%. That's an 8-point drop from September. And overall, you end up having 34% of all voters say that they disapprove of the president's handling of the war in Gaza right now. And so some really tough ratings for the president from overseas issues.
And Mark, I know we have some of this broken out generationally. How much of an impact are young voters having on these approval ratings we're seeing?
Yeah, Savannah, this might actually be the most striking findings in our poll. Our poll finds 70% of young voters ages 18 to 34 disapproving of President Biden's handling of foreign policy, and 70% say that they disapprove of his handling of the Israel-Hamas war. And when it comes to foreign policy, do note that, that 70%, that's more than double what we end up seeing from our September poll. So obviously this matter overseas has taken a toll on the president.
So, Mark, let's look ahead here. We're 11 months before the 2024 election. How are voters feeling about a possible rematch between the current president and the last president, President Trump?
Joe, it is close, but our poll for the very first time shows Donald Trump with a 2-point lead over President Biden. Now, that's within the margin of error, and all of our numbers have actually shown a very close contest between these two men who, if you recall, were in a close contest back in 2020. But our pollsters also caution that it is still very early right now in this contest, and of course, we're going to have so many different other twists and turns that are going to come, including some trials that former President Donald Trump will be facing. So we'll continue to monitor these results.
No doubt a lot will happen in the next 11 months. All right, Mark Murray, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, tributes are pouring in this morning to remember former First Lady Rosalynn Carter. She died Sunday at her home in Plains, Georgia at the age of 96.
Carter had entered hospice care in her home just last Friday. She was an advocate, a humanitarian, and she was by President Jimmy Carter's side for more than 3/4 of a century. NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt takes a look back at her extraordinary life.
It's now my pleasure to introduce someone whom I love and respect and cherish, my wife, Rosalynn.
She was Jimmy Carter's partner, best friend, and closest advisor in and out of the White House for more than 3/4 of a century. Soft-spoken, politically savvy, and fiercely determined, Rosalynn Carter was known as the Steel Magnolia, and she made the role of First Lady her own. Born Rosalynn Smith in Plains, Georgia, she was a neighbor to Jimmy Carter, 3 years her senior.
I was shy and found out that he was so easy to talk to, and we just kind of hit it off really well, and I think I was already in love with him.
They married in 1946 when she was 18.
Rose and I have been equally and totally dedicated partners, even when I was still earning a living as a peanut farmer.
Jimmy ran the family farm. Rosalynn helped manage the business. They raised a family, 3 sons, and later daughter Amy. Jimmy got into politics, elected Georgia governor in 1970, then running for president with Rosalynn's enthusiastic support.
And people got to know him, and when they know him, they vote for him.
Thank you both very much. She's completely objective and unbiased.
I love politics.
The small-town girl with a poor family who never finished college thrived on the national stage.
Every day I see things that I think I could help with, or things that I want to learn more about.
Jimmy Carter won the election, with Rosalynn playing a key role.
I was involved with the selection of the vice president.
She was front and center from the start, attending cabinet meetings, leading on policy issues, including mental health. becoming the first lady since Eleanor Roosevelt to testify before Congress.
I am here as a concerned citizen. There's so many opportunities, and if I don't use the influence I have to help those people who need help, I think that's a terrible waste.
She served as President Carter's emissary, taking high-profile trips to Latin America and Asia.
I think that I am the person closest to the President of the United States, and if I can help him in understanding the countries of the world, then that's what I intend to do.
Often more popular than the president himself, she was his advocate-in-chief.
I'm proud of Jimmy Carter and the job he's doing, and he is, without a doubt, the best person in our country to see us through these times.
But faced with a troubled economy and a painful hostage crisis, Carter lost to Ronald Reagan in 1980, and the Carters returned to Plains. They founded the Carter Center, and together began a remarkable decades-long post-presidency devoted to human rights, international diplomacy, eradicating disease, and year after year building low-income housing with Habitat for Humanity. In 1999, they were awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
I think now is one of the happiest times of my life. There is life after the White House.
Through it all, she remained her husband's greatest champion.
It irritates me when people say he's been a good former president. He was a good president. I don't worry about his place in history.
As for her own place in history, Rosalynn Carter was characteristically modest.
I just hope people think I did the best I could.
Well, ceremonies celebrating Rosalynn Carter's life will be held beginning today in Atlanta and Sumner County, Georgia. According to the Carter Center, funeral services will take place on Wednesday in Plains, Georgia. We are now joined by NBC News presidential historian Michael Beschloss for a closer look back at the life of Rosalynn Carter. Michael, good morning. Thank you very much. We always appreciate when you join us. So Rosalynn became a big part of Jimmy Carter's political life after he won his seat first in the Georgia Senate in 1962 before running for governor, then, of course, later president. Walk us through the influence that she had on those early political days of his.
Well, even before then, Savannah, this is someone who they had a great marriage. Even if we didn't know anything else, this is one of the great marriages in American history. Almost 8 decades. They were equal partners in almost everything that they did. Not only President and First Lady, but going all the way back to the time that he was in the Navy, the family peanut business in Plains, when Carter began running for state office in the 1960s, and finally President and First Lady, and then later on the Carter Center. At the time, just as our friend Lester Holt was saying in that piece, when she was First Lady, she went to cabinet meetings. If that happened nowadays, people would say, Dr. Jill Biden, isn't it great that she has such a good relationship with her husband, probably brought some great ideas to the cabinet members. But in 1977, people said, who is she? She wasn't elected. Some of his Carter's handlers thought it made him look weak. This is the way that traditions change in our society, so that nowadays that's not only an expectation, but people are cheered by seeing a partnership like that.
Let's talk more about that. I happened to be in Atlanta last month, so we went to the Carter Presidential Museum, which was so cool to see. And it is striking just how much Rosalynn Carter traveled with the president to many countries while she was First Lady, discussed issues with world leaders. I mean, talk about the role she took on in Washington during that time.
Everyone knew that this was, talking to her was as good as talking to the president. And people around Jimmy Carter felt that her instincts about people were probably better than Jimmy Carter's were. If she came into a room and there was someone in the third row who had ill intentions toward her husband, I guarantee you she would pick that up in about 10 seconds. Jimmy Carter obviously had huge skills and talents, but that was not necessarily one of them. And the other thing is that the Carters in the late 1970s said, it's time for first ladies not just to be pouring tea and having parties and be seen as peripheral, although many first ladies have had big influence on presidencies. Let's put her in a cabinet meeting. Let's use her as a diplomat. Let's let her make speeches. Let's have her testify before Congress and deal with an issue like mental health. Many other first ladies might have wanted to deal with something like mental health, but the campaign advisors would say, you can't do that because, and this is the language they used, people will wonder if someone in the president's family is crazy.
Well, the Carters are also so well known for their time post-presidency. That, as Joe just mentioned, founding the Carter Center. She was also involved in Habitat for Humanity. They were awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. That was by President Clinton back in 1999. Of so much that we've discussed right now, what do you think her legacy really is? What do you think it is that she will be remembered for?
This is someone who, like her husband, said, not only should we use the presidency to do as much good as possible, but after the time that they were president and first lady, they said, being a former president and first lady has a lot of power. Let's try to do everything we can around the world to do things like eliminate giddy worm and make America a better society. They sure did that. We now expect that of former presidents and first ladies.
Mike Obeschloss, thank you so much. Your expertise is so appreciated on a morning like this one.
Thank you both.
Later today, a federal appeals court will hear arguments over whether to reinstate a gag order against former President Trump.
The hearing is Trump's latest bid to undo the gag order issued last month in the case charging him with plotting to overthrow the results of the 2020 presidential election. Trump argues the order stops him from defending himself outside the courtroom as he campaigns for a second term.
NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delaney joins us now with more. Ken, good morning. So remind us exactly, what does this gag order cover? Why do prosecutors say it's needed?
Good morning, Joe and Savannah. This is actually a fairly narrow gag order. It prohibits former President Trump from criticizing prosecutors, court personnel, and in particular witnesses. And prosecutors, not just prosecutors, but the judge in the case, Tanya Chutkan, has ruled that this gag order is necessary because Donald Trump has a pattern of going after people in the case. Of course, the special counsel, who he's called a thug and a savage and insane, and witnesses in the case, including one, the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff that Trump said deserved to be executed. So all this is on the record. The judge has ruled that the administration of justice requires this order, but obviously his lawyers disagree.
In addition to Trump's claim that he needs to defend himself against the charges on the campaign trail, his defense team is also arguing that the gag order is unconstitutional. What are the arguments there?
Yeah, they say it's a violation of the First Amendment. They say it puts unelected judges in a position of censoring a candidate for president. And on its face, that's true. But what legal experts say is that it's very common to censor criminal defendants. Criminal defendants don't have the same rights as the rest of Americans. And judges have a right to restrict certain kinds of speech in the interest of the administration of justice to prevent witness tampering, jury tampering, and to ensure a fair and impartial trial, guys.
So looking ahead here, is this something that could end up in front of the Supreme Court as far as dealing with the constitutional claims?
I think it's almost a guarantee, Joe. So it'll be interesting to see what happens today. It's a D.C. Circuit Court with Democratic appointed justices, so you can imagine this will go against Trump, and then this will end up before the Supreme Court, with a more conservative Supreme Court. But even so, legal experts say this is not really a close constitutional call. Although, that said, we've never been here before. We've never had a presidential candidate running for president who is also a criminal defendant, so it's possible the Supreme Court will have a novel interpretation of this.
All right. Guys. Ken Delaney, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, there is much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, why this year's Thanksgiving feast won't cost you as much as last year's.
But first, a warning if you're flying to get your turkey dinner. After the break, how airlines are preparing for a record holiday travel season.
And unfortunately, we are tracking some travel troubles. We have a big weather system that's bringing snow, rain, even the chance of a few tornadoes today. We'll talk more about that. Also, your Thanksgiving forecast coming up.
Welcome back. Millions of Americans are about to get away to celebrate the Thanksgiving holiday.
And as people gear up to take to the sky this holiday week, airlines are bracing for record travel. TSA administrators say they expect to screen 30 million passengers between November 17 and November 28, the most ever for that time period.
Woo. For more, we are joined by Hopper's lead economist, Haley Berg. Haley, thanks so much for joining us. So what should travelers be prepared for? Just set the scene and tell us if we know of any days, times in there that might be the best time to travel.
We're expecting a really busy travel week. Just like the TSA, we're expecting considerable more travelers than we saw last year, even more than we saw in 2019, about 15% more passengers than you saw last year. So it will be a busy travel season. Tomorrow and Wednesday will be the busiest for departures. Sunday will be the busiest to return. If you have any flexibility in your schedule, try to skip that Sunday return. About 3.8 million passengers are going to be departing from airports around the U.S. on Sunday alone.
Yeah, wow. I want nothing to do with that Sunday anywhere other than like sitting in my apartment and hunkering down.
Yeah.
We have to flash back to last year's holiday travel season. There were delays, there were cancellations, there was the Southwest Air meltdown. As travelers, we can't prevent an airline meltdown, but what can we do to maybe dodge any travel setbacks this year to best prepare?
Last holiday season definitely is top of mind for a lot of travelers. About 31,000 flights were canceled in the last 2 weeks of December alone last year. So a lot of passengers are thinking about their experiences as we head into this next 2 months of holiday travel. The main thing to keep in mind is that airlines today are in a much better position than they were last year. Airlines, airports, the FAA, air traffic control have increased staffing. That staff has trained now for a full year. So we're in a much more stable position now. Things we can't control are things like weather and unexpected technical malfunctions, but there's a lot more resilience in the system. So that's the good news. For travelers who are hitting the skies this weekend, make sure you download the airline's app. It's a very important information source. Sign up for text notifications from the app. The most important thing when there are disruptions is having information. How long is the delay? Is my flight canceled? And then using that information to advocate for yourself. If it's rebooking on the next available flight, asking for some sort of reimbursement, all of that's key.
If you waited until the last minute to book any travel plans, what can you expect?
If you're booking for Thanksgiving, it's a little late now. You're probably going to be paying a pretty high premium. If you are booking now one of those last minute trips, the best deals will be for Thanksgiving Day departures and returning after Sunday. So think Monday, Tuesday of next week. But if you haven't booked for Christmas yet, you have one more big opportunity, and that's Travel Deal Tuesday. It's the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, November 28th. It's the biggest day of deals for flights and hotels in the calendar year. On the Hopper app, we're going to have 35 to 50% off hotels at more than 10,000 properties. So it's a really good day to book travel for Christmas or those 24 trips if you're starting to think about that.
All right, good to know. There's at least something you can maybe get a deal on later this year. If you haven't booked your Thanksgiving travel yet, though, I know it's hard to believe you won't get a deal tomorrow. All right.
Haley, thank you very much.
Speaking of delays, this is an important one. Rainy weather for parts of the country could cause a few travel setbacks this week.
That's right. Michelle Grossman is here with the latest on this Thanksgiving week forecast. Hi, Michelle. Good morning.
Hi there, guys. Yeah, we have a big impact storm that's going to be affecting us over the next couple of days. The good news is it's a quick mover, so it should be pretty much out of here by Wednesday. A few leftover impacts, but Thursday looking much better too. Let's look at what's happening right now, because this is a big storm. We're looking at some rain. We're looking at some higher elevation snow on the cold side, the backside of this storm. And then on the southern tail, we're looking at the chance for severe weather. We've been talked about that for quite a while, but we're looking at the chance of tornado outbreak. We could see tornadoes EF2 or greater. We're going to be watching that later on today, but we're already seeing the lightning early this morning, and that's what we're going to be watching as we go throughout this Monday. This is what it looks like, that big area of low pressure. It's moving off to the north and also the east. So throughout the day today, we're going to see pockets of heavy rain from the Gulf Coast to the Great Lakes. It's going to stretch pretty wide. Also looking at the chance for tornadoes, hail, damaging winds. Winds could gust up to 75 miles per hour. And then also we could see some really damaging winds and also some hail. Then by tomorrow, we're going to see the system moving quickly to the east. So it races off pretty quickly. Now we're talking about the Great Lakes along the mid-Atlantic coast into portions of the southeast. Notice how quickly it is moving. Possible snow showers in portions of the northeast, the interior parts, and also New England. We could see some pretty heavy snow in parts of Maine, over 10 inches or more. Wednesday, it's off to the Atlantic, and we're looking at blustery and cool conditions as the system moves offshore. But rain and snow lingering in portions of New England, mainly throughout parts of New Hampshire and also through parts of Maine. So 10 million people at risk today for a few strong thunderstorms. We haven't talked about this for a while, so we really need to stay on guard. Where you see those brighter colors, the oranges and the yellows. That shading is showing us where it's likeliest to see some of those storms. Again, winds pretty gusty, causing some damage. And where you see that pink hatched area, that's where we're looking at the chance for a few very strong tornadoes and could see an outbreak. Now, we're talking about a lot of rain in a short amount of time over the next several days. This is mainly Tuesday into Wednesday along the mid-Atlantic, the Northeast. Today, we're looking at portions of the Tennessee Valley, but could see locally up to 3 inches of rain. So this is going to slow people down in the air, also on the roads. And I know that's that ripple effect with the rain. So we'll have to watch this very closely.
All right, we know. Keep an eye on it. Thanks,
For
Michelle.
sure. Thank you. Well, Thanksgiving a few days away, the rush is on to finalize the menu and get the ingredients for the big feast, which can mean big business for our nation's grocers.
NBC News senior consumer investigative correspondent Vicki Nguyen got an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at how Amazon keeps its food, frozen and fresh, ready to go.
What's all the commotion? It seems Thanksgiving Day is upon us.
Yup, it's already here. This year, 79% of Americans say they plan to celebrate Thanksgiving, which means a surge in demand for cranberries, potatoes, gravy, stuffing, and, of course, the centerpiece of the feast, turkey. Major chains like Kroger, Whole Foods, and Stop & Shop have invested in new technologies in stores and behind the scenes.
We are at Walmart's most advanced automated facility near Bakersfield, California. This is where they distribute fresh and frozen food, and we are getting an exclusive first look at how the nation's largest grocery chain keeps its store shelves stocked.
First, a wardrobe change.
They tell me it's 34 degrees in there, so first I have to get bundled up, and yes, orange is the new black.
Walmart engineer Shane Wallmeyer is my tour guide.
Thanksgiving is actually where we ship the most volume.
The 700,000 square foot facility is essentially a giant refrigerator. It services 150 stores in Southern California and Las Vegas. Walmart says its state-of-the-art robotics allow it to ship twice as much product as a traditional facility.
Where does it all start?
Yeah, this is just the beginning. So down here on the dock, we have product coming in from our farmers and suppliers.
Everything from brisket to broccoli, yogurt to cookie dough. Fresh and frozen items come here to be inspected for quality and quantity. Each pallet of food goes up this elevator and along this conveyor belt where it's broken down into individual boxes.
How much food is processed here and sent to your facilities, your stores?
At this facility, we ship about 2 million items a day.
Next, the food enters this massive sorting facility. We stopped in the center of the machine hive.
So much automation. What has it done for groceries and the consumer?
Yeah, this is really our ability to get our product to the shelf faster and more accurately than ever before.
Wallmeyer says when a customer purchases something in-store or online, AI instantly creates a list of products to replenish the store's inventory and determines the best way to build each pallet, placing heavy, sturdier items like meat and beverages on the bottom and more fragile foods such as eggs and fruit on top. It looks like grocery Tetris.
This is my favorite spot in the whole warehouse because we get to see the end product that's going to the stores. Traditionally, this product would have been stacked by hand. A person would do this at about a rate of about 150 cases an hour. These robots are working at about 500 cases per hour.
And for frozen foods,
it's actually negative 15 degrees in here.
Okay, I'm ready, not ready, but I have my hat. Let's do it.
Inside the facility, a 250,000 square foot freezer.
Okay, watch your step. Woo! Yes, you weren't kidding. It is freezing. What has automation done for human workers?
Absolutely. They come in here to clear jams, but our associates are no longer having to work 8 to 10 hours in the cold.
Finally, the pallets are stretch wrapped using these huge machines before being loaded onto trucks headed for a Walmart store.
It's really an amazing combination of people, automation, and AI working together to provide our products to our stores and get those products on the shelf faster.
Our thanks to Vicki for that report. That facility is the first of 4 automated grocery warehouses Walmart plans to open across the country. And as you saw, they really keep those frozen items and Vicki cold. So it's a good reminder, if you're cooking a turkey, get it now. A 10-pound frozen bird can take 3 days to thaw out. Just had this discussion when I bought my turkey yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
Goes in the fridge now. We got to start working on the defrosting.
Frozen or bad. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the balance.
Perfect little window, yeah.
All right. Coming up, it is a dangerous, sometimes deadly journey. Thousands of migrants traveling hundreds of miles in hopes of making it to the U.S. The new warning from officials about the costs of the growing border crisis.
And their love story lasted an entire lifetime. We'll look back at the remarkable marriage of Jimmy and Rosalynn Carter. Stay with us. You're watching Morning News Now.
We're back with the latest on the ongoing migrant crisis at the southern border. Thousands are still making the life-threatening journey to the U.S. despite difficult weather conditions. Texas officials are warning about heavy currents at the Rio Grande, where they recovered the body of a little girl last week. While in cities across the country, officials say the crisis is taking a brutal financial toll. NBC's Rahima Ellis takes a closer look.
Heart-wrenching footage from the southern border showing the moments families with children brave dangerously high river water levels in order to make it into the United States. This woman saying her journey has been exhausting. She's part of a wave of more than 1,000 migrants who chose to risk their lives crossing the Rio Grande in Eagle Pass, Texas.
Lo tiene desesperado. Queremos una mejor vida para la familia también.
That desperation leading to tragedy. Texas DPS saying a 7-year-old girl died here after being swept away while trying to cross the Rio Grande. A teenage boy also found, but in critical condition. This, as Governor Greg Abbott is expected to sign a bill that would allow all police officers in the state to arrest migrants who enter the country illegally, the type of enforcement currently only done by federal agents.
It hurts us to our core. And y'all don't understand that. Y'all don't live in our skin.
The controversial bill has escalated tensions between state leaders, with some critics saying it will lead to racial profiling. Meanwhile, cities across the U.S. who have been taking in migrants now grappling with the financial toll.
We will be forced to make some tough choices.
In New York City, Mayor Eric Adams announcing budget cuts that could affect schools and cut down on police numbers in response to the rising costs of the migrant crisis, adding that the city could see even deeper cuts without any federal help. Meanwhile, in Chicago, buses full of migrants continue to arrive, with more than 12,000 people already living in the city's 25 active shelters. The city saying nearly 500 buses have arrived since last August.
All right, Rahima, thank you so much.
Well, the world is remembering the life of former First Lady Rosalynn Carter this morning, who passed away Sunday at the age of 96. Her remarkable union with former President Jimmy Carter goes back more than 75 years. Here is the Carter's love story in their own words.
This is the best night, I think, of my life, perhaps with the possible exception of the night that I married my wife 30 years ago.
And we've been married now, we just passed 72 years together, so we still get to know each other. It's interesting that Rosa and I grew up in the same little town. As a matter of fact, when I was 4 years old, my family lived next door to hers.
And he graduated from high school and left home at 16. I was 13. He was way beyond my reach.
I didn't know it, but she and my sister kind of plotted while I was a midshipman at the Naval Academy.
She had a picture on the wall in her room, and I think I just fell in love with the photograph. And he asked me for a date.
And my mama asked me, Jimmy, what did you do last night? And I said, I went to a movie. She said, did you go with anybody? And I said, yeah, I went with Rosalynn Smith. And she said, what did you think of her? And I said, she's the one I'm going to marry.
And I just think it was love at first date. It was kind of wonderful.
When I asked Rosalynn to marry me, she said no. As you know, she eventually changed her mind. Rosalynn and I have been equally and totally dedicated partners, even when I was still earning a living as a peanut farmer.
Well, we have a very good kind of working relationship. I've always had my responsibilities. He's had his responsibilities, even when I worked every day in the peanut warehouse. That was a period in our life when we developed a real partnership and a real respect for what each other could do.
She helped me with my campaign. She helped in everything I did when I was president.
I like to be informed about what is going on, and Jimmy talks to me about what is happening, and I talk to him about what is happening, and I give him advice, and he doesn't always follow it.
Rosalynn has always been very close to me, and personally, as well as to consult with me on matters of interest to me and to her. How's it going?
I don't get Jimmy's permission. He always encourages me to do the things that I'm interested in.
Rosalynn has always played a substantial role, and I would imagine that she would continue that as long as she and I share a partnership and I'm in politics.
I love politics. I enjoy it, and I enjoy the life.
She represented me overseas.
President Carter said farewell to Mrs. Carter today as she left on a tour of Latin America.
And then after we left the White House, she's been a full and equal partner at the Carter Center.
Farewell to Jimmy Carter and to Rosalynn Carter.
When Jimmy lost his job, we came home to Plains. We didn't know what we were going to do. We found ourselves deeply in debt. We didn't know how we were going to make a living.
We had an unpredictable future. We were somewhat embarrassed by our failure to be reelected. And now, if you look across the lake, you'll see what the future holds for me and Rosalynn and many of you. I hope that our lives will never be a disappointment to you.
I think now is one of the happiest times of my life. We do a lot of traveling, all with projects at the Carter Center, where we work on Mideast peace and U.S.-Soviet relations and health issues and all kinds of exciting things.
We are also, Rosa and I, working on the Habitat for Humanity project. At the end of the Habitat project, we always feel that Rosa and I got more out of it than we put into it. It's been a great blessing to us.
And so it's a good life. There is life after the White House.
Jimmy and Rosalynn Carter have done more good things for more people in more places than any other couple on the face of the earth. To see it merely as a political journey tells only part of the story. At its heart, those of us who admire them see their journey as one of love and faith.
We not only got old, but we've gotten old in our marriage, but it's still full of love. So we've always been partners, and we always will be.
What an amazing thing to hear them talk about it themselves in their own words.
Incredible love story.
Coming up, a major shakeup in Silicon Valley. Fired OpenAI CEO Sam Altman now has a new team. We'll have the latest.
Plus, a Thanksgiving feast for your wallet will be thankful for. Why turkey and all the fixins won't cost you as much this year. It's next on Morning News Now. We're back with financial headlines, and it looks like the ousted CEO of OpenAI has already landed on his feet.
CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us with that and other money news. Hey, Silvana, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. Good morning, Joe. Yes, so former OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has found a new home. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella announcing Altman will join the company to lead a new advanced AI team. Microsoft is a major backer of OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, and this comes after Altman was fired by OpenAI's board on Friday for not being consistently candid in his communications with them. Reports say OpenAI has appointed Twitch co-founder Emmett Shear as interim CEO. Citigroup employees expect the bank to announce layoffs and senior management changes today as part of the company's biggest overhaul in decades. Reuters reports the job cuts could affect thousands of staff in compliance, risk management, and technology. Sources say some employees may be able to apply for other roles. Last month, Citi announced plans to reduce management layers from more than a dozen to 8. And consumers plan to spend an average of $567 during Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales, up 13% from last year as they seek out the best deals. Now, that's according to Deloitte's annual holiday survey. About 84% of shoppers say they feel confident enough to stick with the budgets they set in September. Many plan to do much of their holiday shopping over Thanksgiving weekend, with 40% expecting to buy everything on their list, guys.
Everything?
By this weekend?
That's what I said. Everything? No way.
Yeah.
No way. Don't believe those people.
Dedicated folks, very organized. All right, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You got it. Well, speaking of saving money, there may be some good news for your holiday dinner budget this year because grocery prices seem to be dropping. To find out more, NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa went straight to the farmers growing our holiday favorites now. She joins us from a grocery store in Chicago. Hey, Maggie, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, good morning. Yeah, spoiler, we're not at the farm right now. We're at the store. But as we know, so much work, so much time goes into getting food on our grocery store shelves. So when we saw stubborn inflation, right, keeping food prices high, but the cost of a lot of holiday staples falling, we decided for an explanation to go straight to the source.
It's time for Thanksgiving shopping, y'all.
This morning, the Thanksgiving race is on, and Americans filling their carts.
It's a big turkey.
Might make out better at the checkout line.
89 cents a pound.
According to this year's American Farm Bureau Thanksgiving Cost Survey, overall prices are down 4.5% compared to last year. While certain items like pumpkin pie mix and dinner rolls are up, stuffing mix is down almost 3%. And looking at two holiday staples, turkey is down 5.6%, fresh cranberries down 18%. To unpack that mixed bag, we turned to Midwestern meccas of Thanksgiving food. Wisconsin, America's #1 producer of cranberries, And Minnesota, top for turkey.
Hi.
There, farmer John Zimmerman helped us get hands-on. He's about how old?
He's about 6.5 weeks old.
Turkey prices are down. Why would you say that is?
Part of that is because we're recovering from a bird flu outbreak, so there's a little bit better supply out there. Commodity prices have dropped. Our feed costs have come down.
In Wisconsin, cranberry farmers add inflation and high supply costs are still keeping prices higher than consumers would like.
It's the transportation costs, the trucking costs, the other consumable products, like the packaging and even labor.
Experts agree fluctuating food prices stem from factors beyond farmers' control. Their advice to consumers eager to gobble up a feast?
When you go to the store, you have to prep like it's the Super Bowl. Make a menu, make a list of ingredients. It's going to take more than one trip to the grocery store to get that fabulous meal on the table for less this year.
Prep like it's the Super Bowl, guys. Take this seriously. And by the way, one more interesting point from the American Farm Bureau. They actually say the cost of your dinner will vary region to region. They tell us it'll be the most affordable here in the Midwest and, frankly, the least affordable in the Northeast. So on that awkward note, I will send it back to you in New York. Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised. I did my shopping yesterday. It was cheaper this year, definitely.
But you left the city.
Yes. Well, I was just outside New York. Still the Northeast, though, in Connecticut.
It is.
Yeah.
In New York, everything gets charged 20 times as much. All right.
Correct. Thanks, Maggie.
Coming up, it's a debate that divides families every Thanksgiving.
Of course, we're talking about cranberry sauce, canned or fresh. When we return, we'll go straight to the source in hopes of finding some common ground. This is Morning News Now.
Welcome back. The 2023 Billboard Music Awards took place yesterday. The awards are based on sales figures and were streamed on Billboard's social platforms. No surprise, Taylor Swift took home 10 trophies, including Top Artist and Top Songwriter. She accepted her awards in a pre-recorded message from backstage at her Eras tour, calling the wins unreal. Country star Morgan Wallen won 11 awards in all, including Top Male Artist, Top Hot 100 Artist, and Top Country Artist. And the Queen of Christmas, Mariah Carey, she got a special award for her iconic song, All I Want for Christmas Is You.
I listened to that song about 20 times yesterday on my drive to and from the grocery store. All right.
It never gets old, right?
It really just doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just, you hear it and it's time. All right. Thanks, Joe. Yep. We end this hour with an age-old Thanksgiving debate. Which do you prefer, canned or fresh cranberry sauce at your table? Well, NBC News correspondent Harry Smith went for a closer look at a cranberry bog that harvests a fixture of our Thanksgiving feasts.
Every fall, usually just after the first frost, cranberry farmers know it's time to harvest.
It's one of the most spectacular harvests. I like to say when I'm in here, the cranberries are giving me like a million little hugs.
Bogs in Massachusetts, Wisconsin, and the Pacific Northwest glisten with the color of a fruit that lands tart on the tongue.
I'm like a cranberry. I'm tart at heart. And so
Allison Carr's family
You want one, Mom?
has been cultivating cranberries near Cape Cod since the 1800s.
A lot of the work that we do comes from not only what we do this year, but the learning and the teachings and the understandings from the generations of people that came before us.
Harvest is part of Carr's heritage.
They need to go this way.
They need to go this way.
That heritage drew her back to the farm.
I went to New York City and I loved it. And they said, if you love the farm, you'll come back to it. And that's what I did.
Cranberries are American originals, native to the continent like Concord grapes and blueberries. But those others don't engender the kind of controversy that accompanies Thanksgiving dinner.
So have there ever been family disputes with, I like the can, no, I want it this way, no, I want it that way?
I would say people have their, the ones that they love. So not so much a dispute, but more of the passionate, they are passionate about their cranberry sauce that they love.
A survey says the jellied version from a can is the overwhelming favorite. But most of these little rubies end up as juice. And there is little dispute over the cranberry's contribution to a Cosmo, or to whatever she's having. Harry Smith, NBC News, Rochester, Massachusetts.
Oh, what a little surprise.
Taylor Swift really is everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Even a Harry Smith story. I've been able to text him about that. That's hilarious.
Even in the Cranberry debate. All right, that's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now. Don't go anywhere. Good Monday morning. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, we're remembering Rosalynn Carter, former First Lady to the 39th President Jimmy Carter. She passed away Sunday at her Georgia home at the age of 96. We're going to bring you more on her celebrated life and legacy, both in the White House and beyond. In the Middle East this morning, sources are telling NBC News that international negotiators are closing in on a possible deal that would release at least some of those hostages held captive by Hamas, and comes as Israel's military releases this video reportedly showing a large tunnel under Al-Shifa Hospital, one that the IDF says is used by Hamas. We'll bring you the very latest from the ground. Plus, pack your bags and your patience because the race is on. This Thanksgiving travel rush expected to be one of the busiest in decades, and it is kicking into high gear. We've got everything you need to know as you head out the door. And of course, it's also a big week for football, so later in the hour, we are taking you inside the game with an adrenaline-pumping look at one team's parachute squad. Yeah, parachute squad, which lights up the game day sky for tens of thousands of fans. As you can see, Jacob Soboroff joined them to jump out of a plane.
Yeah, we just said we're throwing you out of a plane for this one. That's great. Can't wait to see it.
Things we do for our jobs. All right. We begin this hour remembering the life of former First Lady Rosalynn Carter, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 96.
Just days ago, Carter had entered hospice care at home. She was married to former President Jimmy Carter for more than 75 years. The former First Lady championed mental health care and devoted her life to numerous social causes, including programs that supported human rights, social justice, and the needs of elderly people. NBC News correspondent Blaine Alexander has more on her life and legacy.
The former First Lady was 96 years old when she died on Sunday afternoon, surrounded by her family and those who loved her dearly. She had just entered hospice care on Friday after being diagnosed with dementia earlier this year. Now, her love story with the former president is truly one for the ages. And now she's being remembered as a fierce humanitarian with a beautiful, caring spirit. From the Georgia governor's mansion to the White House, to her years of global humanitarian work, former First Lady Rosalynn Carter dedicated her life to public service and to her beloved husband, former President Jimmy Carter, all while blazing trails in her own right. This morning, the former president is remembering his wife and best friend of nearly 80 years. Rosalynn was my equal partner in everything I ever accomplished. She gave me wise guidance and encouragement when I needed it. As long as Rosalynn was in the world, I always knew somebody loved and supported me. Now, tributes are pouring in from every corner of the globe. The president and First Lady writing, Rosalynn did so much to address many of society's greatest needs. We always felt her hope, warmth, and optimism.
It's now my pleasure to introduce someone whom I love and respect and cherish, my wife, Rosalynn.
The Carters' storied marriage stretched more than 77 years, longer than any other first couple in history. Born Eleanor Rosalynn Smith in Plains, Georgia, she grew up next door to the future president, who was 3 years her senior.
He graduated from high school and left home at 16. I was 13. He was way beyond my reach.
They married in 1946 and became life partners in everything, from the peanut farms of Georgia all the way to the White House, where she was influential on the campaign to get there.
Then people got to know him, and when they know him, they vote for him.
Thank you both very much. She's completely objective and unbiased.
I love politics.
Mrs. Carter would often attend cabinet meetings and became the first First Lady to hold an office in the East Wing.
I talk to him about what is happening, and I give him advice, and he doesn't always follow it.
She used her position to champion her own causes, a fierce advocate for mental health and better care for the elderly. The Carters continued that work when they left the White House, founding the Carter Center more than 40 years ago. And in 1999, they were each awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
I think now is one of the happiest times of my life. There is life after the White House.
Now, there are 3 days of tribute set aside to honor the former First Lady, including here in Atlanta at the Carter Center and in their beloved Plains, Georgia, where she will be laid to rest. Back to you.
All right, Blaine, thank you so much.
For more, we're joined now by NBC News contributor Jonathan Alter. Good to have you with us, Jonathan. I mean, there is so much to talk about life before the presidency, during and after. Just to you, what stands out most about Rosalynn Carter's life in the public eye?
So just how much she did for how many people over such a long period of time. Now, often first ladies get involved in causes, but Rosalynn Carter, in addition to being a woman of great strength and grace, they called her the Steel Magnolia for a reason, she actually accomplished a lot on mental health, on childhood vaccination, on appointing more women to senior positions in the government. Her husband appointed 5 times as many women to the federal bench as all of his predecessors combined.
Wow.
A lot of that was as a result of Rosalynn Carter. And then, of course, in the post-presidency, together and separately, they did many, many things in global health, democracy promotion, and most important, she was a champion of mental health. And she did tremendous amount to end the stigma of mental illness in this country.
Yeah, I want to ask more about that, some specifics around this. She served as the honorary chairperson of the President's Commission on Mental Health. She also testified before a Senate committee that ultimately paved the way for the mental health systems bill to be passed. Why was it that that cause was so important to her, especially when you put in context the time? I mean, it's still stigmatized. It's certainly getting better to talk about, but at a time like that, her doing the work that she did in that space.
Well, when her husband was first running for governor of Georgia in 1966, and then he ran again and was elected in 1970, she would tour Georgia and she would go to these awful mental institutions where people were shunted away, and she just thought it was wrong and that we should begin to do something about it as a society. And she started that in Georgia and then continued. And she didn't just testify and chair a commission. She drove this legislation to passage with the help of Senator Ted Kennedy, who was her husband's arch rival in 1980 when this bill was passed. And then, you know, quite a bit of it was repealed by Ronald Reagan, and it reemerged with Rosalynn Carter's help as part of Obamacare. But this was a major deal in establishing these community mental health centers and beginning to end the stigma. And then in the post-presidency, she continued her work on this, and also started the Center for Caregiving. Now, we all have caregivers in our family. We know of caregivers. It wasn't really a concept before Rosalynn Carter. So these are big contributions.
She did so much in the post-presidency, writing books, Habitat for Humanity, plus all the work you mentioned. What do you think drove her, motivated her to do all this work after the presidency?
I think a lot of it was her faith and also her partnership with Jimmy Carter. You know, only about 1,000 people in the United States have been married more than 75 years. This was the first couple.
Wow.
And they had this extraordinary partnership, and they realized that because of their stature, they could leverage that to do a lot of good around the world. And that really drove her, that she could make a difference, but she believed that anybody can make a difference, and that was an important part of her message.
Jonathan Alter, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Good to have you with us.
So great to have you. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Well, this morning, NBC News is learning that American, Israeli, and Hamas negotiators are nearing a deal to release some hostages in exchange for a pause in fighting. That's according to sources familiar with these negotiations. It comes as another hospital in northern Gaza is now under siege. Gaza's health officials say Israeli forces have surrounded and attacked the Indonesian hospital up in northern Gaza, where hundreds of patients and displaced Palestinians are holed up. NBC News chief international correspondent Keir Simmons joins us with all these latest developments from Tel Aviv. Hey, Keir, good morning.
Hey there, good morning to you. And families of the hostages will meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu and his war cabinet tonight. It's only the third or fourth time that something like that has happened since the hostages were taken, and it's been 45 days. Hope possibly this morning, for some of the more than 200 hostages taken by Hamas, with many desperate families demonstrating in Israel this weekend. Sources familiar with the negotiations confirmed to NBC News that talks mediated by the US and Qatar are on the brink of a breakthrough.
We are closer than we have been in quite some time.
Nothing is final yet, and those talks have fallen apart before. And this weekend, Israel under pressure to justify its assault on Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza, saying this security camera footage shows 2 hostages, one Thai, one from Nepal, at the hospital on October 7th.
With the gunmen, terrorists inside the hospital.
This morning, Hamas admitting it took hostages to hospitals for treatment, it says. But in the footage, one is dragged along a hall. And Israel says at Al-Shifa, this is a Hamas hidden staircase and a 55-metre, 180-foot tunnel with cables and a blast door. NBC News cannot independently verify Israel's description of the footage. The US says its intelligence suggests the hospital harboured a Hamas command facility. Israel says it was an extensive headquarters. This morning, 31 premature babies from Al-Shifa have been evacuated to a hospital in southern Gaza. Some did not survive. Israel's offensive, unrelenting. Dozens were killed at a school this weekend, and overnight another hospital hit with 12 killed, says the Hamas-run Gazan Health Ministry. We meet Hassan al-Drimni, who just got news his sister-in-law and nephew were killed in southern Gaza. They're slaughtering us, he says. He's terrified for his 2-year-old daughter, Amira, and 2-month-old baby Ali. While in Israel, it's 45 days since Mayan Zin's daughters, Ella, 8, and Daphne, 15, were abducted, their father killed. If Israel can't get them back, she'll go to Gaza herself, she says.
I just want to hug my daughters, to take them in my hand.
And if there is a deal, Savannah, it's not clear how many hostages it would involve or how long a pause there would be. But those with knowledge of the talks that we've spoken to over a number of weeks have talked about a series of occasions where a group of hostages would be released over a number of days. We wait to see if there is a breakthrough. Meanwhile, on those premature babies, 29 of them now have reached Egypt and a hospital there. Savannah.
All right, Keir Simmons, thank you so much.
Back here in the U.S., experts predict this could be one of the busiest travel seasons in years as more Americans are hitting the road or heading to the airport. They're doing it even earlier than usual. NBC News correspondent Sam Brock is at Miami International Airport with more on what you need to know to dodge the holiday rush, if that's even possible. Sam, good morning.
We hope it's possible. Joe, good morning. Look, there's been a shift here. Traditionally, there have been these pressure points on a couple of days, the Tuesday and Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the Sunday when you return. Certainly, that is still true. But with work from home, a lot of the travel now is spread out over a longer time span. TSA projecting some 30 million air travelers over a 12-day period. And Joe, right now, the 3 top destinations, according to AAA, are all here in Florida. We're talking about Miami, Orlando, and Fort Lauderdale. And with one of the busiest days just hours away, now might be your best time to leave.
The race to beat the horde of holiday travelers is on. From the road to the skies. More than 55 million people are expected to be on the move between Wednesday and the Sunday after Thanksgiving. That's the 3rd highest forecast for the holiday since 2000. Already, early bird travelers are taking flight.
We hope that we can get out early and just be patient is the biggest thing.
Experts say that flexible work schedules are allowing many to work from their Thanksgiving destination and leave earlier.
We're both allowed to work from home this week, and we just thought it'd be easier to travel today instead of like Tuesday or Wednesday.
The TSA says tomorrow will be one of the 3 busiest travel days of the week, only topped by Thanksgiving Eve and Sunday, when 2.9 million passengers will rush to return home.
TSA officials and others are projecting this Thanksgiving is the busiest Thanksgiving holiday in years. Expect the airports themselves to be quite full. You know, it's one of the busiest travel periods of the entire year.
For those looking to hit the road this holiday, Turkey Day traffic is expected to be at its worst on Tuesday and Wednesday between 4 and 5 p.m. That's according to data analyzed by Google Maps. The best time to start your drive, today or tomorrow at 8 p.m. Meanwhile, drivers are thankful for some relief at the pump. The national average for gas prices is now $3.31 a gallon. That's almost 40 cents less than last year.
I was paying, close to like $36. Now I'm paying like 24 or something like that, so it is a big change.
But road warriors, beware. A storm system moving east is threatening to delay travel, as high winds and rain could impact cities like New Orleans, Atlanta, and Philadelphia, potentially turning pre-Thanksgiving travel into a traffic-jammed trek.
And according to TSA, Joe, a record number of passengers have signed up for pre-check, some 17.5 million. That is 4 million more people than this time last year. And of course, when you're walking around the airport, we've all done this, and you see the pre-check lines and they are longer than regular security, you're thinking, oh no, you've got to be kidding me. Travel experts say it is still going to be faster. Pursue the TSA pre-check if you can. There's even a My TSA app that you can pull up that will tell you before you leave your house how long the wait time is going to be.
Oh, good to know, but you still are like, I'm paying for this. Why am I still waiting so long? All right.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
And now let's bring in travel expert and journalist Mark Elwood on this. Hey, Mark, always great to have you. Thanks for being here. So as we just heard, This is going to be one of the busiest weeks for travel in years. What is behind this year being so much more popular to travel somewhere than the last few?
I think Sam had a really good point. Effectively, our work patterns have shifted so much, despite all the return to office mandates. Lots of people still have flexibility, and that means everyone wants to travel a little bit more and work what they do. A Deloitte survey showed I think it was about a third of people were planning to do that, and that's been a big change post-pandemic.
So especially for those who are traveling Tuesday, Wednesday, and or Sunday, knowing it's going to be busy, what are your best tips to try and keep it as stress-free as possible?
I know, it's like Groundhog Day over here. What I would add to Sam's point is some airports do allow you to pre-book a slot in the TSA screening line. Check if your local airport does do that. Also, please remember the 3-1-1 rule. We say it all the time. It's for one person, you have one quart bag of 3.4 ounces maximum of liquids. If you're carrying on, you've got to decant. I know you love your homemade turkey gravy, but you're going to have to take it in tiny little bottles if you don't want to have to check a bag. It's really going to hold you up if you don't follow that rule.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. All right, if you do run into some issues at the airport, like maybe your luggage gets lost or you miss your connecting flight, what are some tips on how to handle all that in this craziness?
Remember, put an air tag in your luggage or anything like that. That's a great way of finding where your luggage is. I do that all the time. So if it gets lost, you can say to the agent, hey guys, I can see where it is. You could find it for me there. Remember also, social media is a great way of solving any problems. If the airport is chaos, go online, go to X or Twitter and say, hello, could you help me? As politely as you can. Go to Facebook, the same thing. The airlines will have ways of helping you, not amid the chaos of your local airport. So don't forget, you can reach other customer service that way. Also try overseas. Remember, for the rest of the world, this is just a random Thursday in November. So customer service for your airline overseas will likely not be as busy on the phone as it is in the U.S.
Interesting.
I spent a Thanksgiving in London once. Hard to find a turkey meal, I can tell you that.
Mark Elwood, thank you very much and happy Thanksgiving.
Pleasure.
All right, let's keep our Turkey Day travel coverage going with a check on your morning news now weather.
Yeah, Michelle Grossman's got the forecast for the week. Hey there.
Hey there, guys. And we have a high impact storm that we're watching over the next couple of days. Wednesday and Thursday look to be a little quieter. That's good news. But if you're often traveling today, also tomorrow, you're going to run into some issues, especially in the middle of the country. We have a big storm system that's bringing snow to the backside of the system. That's in the Rockies, the high plains, the higher elevations of those areas. We'll see some snow. And then we're also looking at some rain, heavy rain over the next several days, up to 3 inches in some spots, locally heavy downpours. And then on the southern tail of the storm, where you can see that purple, we're looking at the chance of some really strong thunderstorms. That includes tornadoes, hail, really gusty winds. So that is today. We're going to see travel impacts from the plains all the way to the Mississippi Valley. So we possibly and most likely will see delays in St. Louis and Memphis, possible in Chicago, Oklahoma City, Dallas. Houston could see some delays as well. And some of these could be major as we go throughout this Monday. If you're on the roadways, I-70 Denver to St. Louis, and the whole stretch of I-55 from Chicago to New Orleans could see some slowdowns on the roads there. Now, as we near Tuesday, this storm moves pretty quickly. That's the good news, but it zips off to the East Coast. We're looking at that transition to snow, wintry mix in the higher elevations of New England, even into the portions of interior Northeast. So we could see up to 10 inches in some spots in Maine. Otherwise, it's a rain event, and it's a heavy rain event. We could tell that because we're looking at those darker colors, and that's where we're going to see the heaviest rain. D.C., Charlotte expecting major delays there. New York City could see some possible delays. This is Tuesday. Atlanta as well. Then as we look towards Wednesday, we're looking at some slowdowns on roadways too on Tuesday from Chicago to New York City, Washington, D.C. to Savannah. Then look at Wednesday. It zips out of here. So again, really fast moving. We have some lingering snow showers in New England, mainly in Maine. But we're looking at blustering, windy conditions on Wednesday into Thursday. That could impact the parade in some ways. But really, we're talking about the rain. This is happening on radar, and we're seeing the heavy rain already. So it's a big storm. It has a lot of energy with it. And we'll be watching this today and also tomorrow.
Envision a lot of delays tomorrow.
I know.
Yeah.
A lot of sitting in there.
Family traveling tomorrow.
Yeah,
why not?
All right, thanks, Michelle. Appreciate it.
We've got much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including some angry race fans who are now filing a class action lawsuit against the organizers of that Formula One race in Las Vegas. We'll tell you the details.
But first, after the break, there's a new push on Capitol Hill to shore up more funding for both Israel and Ukraine. Can congressional leaders come to a consensus before the end of the year? We're going to take you to Washington next. Welcome back. Leaders in Congress are hoping to pass a supplemental package to aid the war efforts in Ukraine and Israel, in addition to more funding to deal with the influx of migrants at the southern border.
Lawmakers hope to approve this package by the end of the year, but reaching this ambitious deadline would mean striking a deal that satisfies both parties.
NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale joins us now from Washington with more. Ali, good morning. So the House has already passed an aid bill for Israel, but that one includes funding cuts to the IRS, excludes humanitarian assistance, pretty much non-starters in the Senate. So what's the next step in negotiations for a supplemental aid package? What do lawmakers believe is the best path forward?
More negotiating, and they think they have to do it on a short timeline, Joe, because they want to do this by the end of the year so as not to lose momentum, and also so that they don't run into those newly created and newly established funding deadlines that are staggered now throughout January and February. We already know that they avoided a government shutdown in order to be able to go home early for a Thanksgiving break, but they're going to have to come back next year and deal with the impact of that. It's why you've got people like Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer saying that he wants to get back to the negotiating table immediately upon returning from Thanksgiving. That means that means the week after this one, and they're going to try to come to some consensus where maybe not everyone gets what they want, but they are able to get aid to these countries. Now, it's much more complicated than just getting the aid out the door. We know that the way that the House wants to do the Israel package may have less strings attached to it, but there are so many within the rightmost flank of that House Republican conference who don't want to see any more aid go out the door to Ukraine. That complicates this, and it means there's got to be a lot of different permutations of this in order for it to actually pass in bipartisan fashion.
Ali, we understand that there's a group of conservative Republicans who are pushing the new House Speaker, Mike Johnson, to pass a GOP-led bill as at least the starting point for negotiations in the House and Senate. Tell us about that.
Yeah, where this bill originates is actually going to be the focus for the next few days as Republican and Democratic leaders try to figure out what this is going to look like. That's because when you talk about what the House has already passed, and you guys mentioned this, they passed Israel aid, but they did it with some riders attached to it, including defunding the IRS, which was key pieces that were passed in earlier Democratic legislation and that Democrats don't want to see attached to any kind of foreign aid, especially not to Israel in this dire moment. That's why we're seeing them now consider the idea of maybe pairing future Ukraine aid with things like with future border funding and border protections. That's something that could appease enough Republicans, but the more restrictive that legislation is, the more Democrats fall off on the other side of it. So it really is going to be a balancing act for these leaders who do need to do it in bipartisan fashion, and that's why they're looking to the Senate to originate this bill. Lawmakers there have been negotiating for many weeks now, and they're hoping something can come to fruition.
Ali, quickly, why is it so important to get something passed in this window between Thanksgiving and Christmas?
Look, as we talked about, once you get into next year, it gets even more complicated, not even just because of the funding deadlines, though those are certainly unforeseen things that we were thinking about even before the end of the year came up for this foreign aid package that they're trying to push through. But once you get into an election year, actual calendar year 2024, it's really hard to do anything in bipartisan fashion in Congress, especially when Republicans will be actively trying to pick their nominee. And in all likelihood, that person is going to be the former President Donald Trump, not necessarily someone who you think of as a pinnacle of bipartisanship. And so certainly when you put that person front and center in the headlines, as he will be once again and continually in 2024, it makes it really hard for the parties to come together in bipartisan fashion. All those things are swirling in the pot for why time is of the essence on this.
All right. Ali Vitale, thank you so much.
Thanks, as always. Well, now to the 2024 presidential race. Former President Donald Trump won the endorsement of Texas Governor Greg Abbott during his visit to the U.S.-Mexico border over the weekend. It comes as immigration and the migrant crisis remain key issues for voters heading into the election. NBC News senior Capitol Hill correspondent Garrett Hake is following the Trump campaign for us and has these details. Hey, Garrett, good morning.
Hey, Savannah. This was actually Mr. Trump's first visit to the border as a 2024 candidate, even as immigration continues to be one of the most divisive issues in American politics and one of the most prominent in the Republican primary. Mr. Trump picking up that key endorsement and highlighting a shift even farther to the right on immigration.
Former President Trump at the Texas border Sunday.
It's a job of security for our country. It's a job of stopping an invasion.
The Republican frontrunner's visit with service members highlighting his hawkish views on immigration, driving his 2024 campaign. The former president built his political brand as an immigration hardliner, lately ramping up his approach even further, promising draconian new policies, including conducting mass deportation raids nationwide, enacting a new travel ban targeting majority Muslim countries, and imposing ideological screening on would-be immigrants and asylum seekers.
We've got to have the largest mass deportation effort in history, and we're going to be started immediately.
All policies that could lead to battles with Congress and the courts over their constitutionality, but all designed to appeal to conservatives like Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who endorsed Mr. Trump on Sunday.
We need a president who's going to secure the border.
It comes as even cities far from the border struggle with an influx of migrants, including some bused or flown north from Texas. Boston's Logan Airport housing migrants, with Massachusetts shelters full. New York City slashing budgets for police and education as the city cares for some 65,000 migrants, costing billions. And new migrants arriving in Chicago will be limited to 60-day shelter stays, no longer qualifying for rental assistance.
This all comes as the 2024 general election campaign is tightening. Our new NBC News national poll showing Mr. Trump narrowly leading President Biden, 46% to 44%. That's nationally. Now, that's also inside the poll's margin of error. And the president's approval rating in that poll sits at 40%. It's the lowest level of his presidency, but he's got a year to turn it around before the election. Savannah?
All right, Garrett, thank you so much.
Coming up, more controversy this morning surrounding that Formula One race in Las Vegas over the weekend.
Why some angry fans are now filing a class action lawsuit against organizers. Stick around, that's up next. Welcome back. Over the weekend, Max Verstappen won the first ever Las Vegas Grand Prix, but the event is also at the center of a lawsuit now. A group of Formula One fans filed the class action lawsuit after being forced to leave the venue on the opening night of racing after a driver damaged his vehicle, causing a 2.5-hour delay for the second session.
In a statement, the Las Vegas Grand Prix responded to the lawsuit saying, quote, "Our focus is on ensuring that our fans have an entertaining experience in a safe and secure environment, which is always our top priority."
NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalas is here with more. Hi, Danny. Always good to see you. So walk us through this class action lawsuit and what it is that these people would need to prove in order to win this case.
The theory behind this lawsuit is essentially that by negligently maintaining the track, the defendants somehow caused these damages to ticket holders who paid for a show and they didn't get a show. The second, about what they need to show to win, they basically need to climb Mount Everest. This is not a case that I would invest in. I'm a civil litigator, and when you take on cases like this, they really are more like an investment. Are they worth you putting in your money on the front end as a lawyer to try and get the benefit of a judgment or a settlement later on? And there are many problems I see with this from the outset. Number one, even if negligent, some things happen during a race, and you may need to shut down a race for all kinds of, same thing will happen at a football game, all kinds of things can happen. Number two, we haven't seen the ticket. I promise you, the ticket is chock full of shrink wrap, click wrap, whatever wrap, all the things that you sign off on when you buy a ticket. And all a ticket does is give you a limited license to be somewhere. You can be kicked out. You can be asked to leave. You don't own that seat. You are only there at the pleasure of the person who owns the seat. And then even the damages themselves. Let's say even you win this case and you take it to a jury. What's a jury going to give each ticket holder for damages? Oh, you were traumatized because you didn't get to see people drive around in a circle? I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, delays and cancellations happen all the time for a variety of reasons, as you mentioned. So how rare is it to see something like this to try and pursue legal action?
Well, here's what I think. I think probably this law firm sees that there's some possibility, and I'm guessing there might be some consumer protection section of the local law that they think entitles them to remedy or relief. The thing is, sometimes you find with class action firms, these are firms that are really more like investment bankers. They're not like traditional lawyers. They look for issues in the law that they think are worth investing in and taking a chance at. So it may be something that I'm not seeing. There may be, and I'm betting if there is, it's a consumer protection law issue that allows usually for some kind of treble damages, triple automatic damages. You see that a lot in consumer protection. You'll see class action firms target those laws and violations of those laws. But without something like that, this is not that appetizing of a lawsuit.
What's next? What should we watch for?
In civil cases, the first filing of the complaint is really the very exciting part. After that, it gets very boring for a long time because the parties enter into what's called discovery. They do depositions, they exchange information about each other, and unlike a criminal case where you may have hearings along the way, the next fireworks usually aren't until the civil trial. And I got to tell you something, 9 out of 10 cases in civil litigation end in a settlement. They don't go to trial. Civil litigators on the whole are not in court nearly as much as criminal defense attorneys and prosecutors.
Could that be the goal here, trying to get a settlement, perhaps?
Yes, and that's why for a lot of corporate defendants, this kind of defense is more about a business decision. Do you offer what's called nuisance value to the plaintiffs? Do you say, well, here's what it'll cost us to go to trial, and then in theory we could lose a trial. You figure out what that risk is worth to you in dollar amounts, and you offer that to the plaintiff. But other defendants, corporate defendants, take a different approach. They say, you know what, if we do that, we're going to send a message to all the sharks out there, like me. So instead, we're going to fight no matter what, and we're going to take this to trial. And that's what everybody says, but I'll let you know a little secret, Joe. Plaintiffs, defendants all say, we are going to trial. We think we can win. Everybody settles.
All right, Danny Savalas, thank you so much.
A number of dogs in at least 10 states are suffering from an illness that has vets and owners baffled. The symptoms include coughing, sneezing, and fatigue. In some cases, it could mean death. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz has the details.
This morning, a highly contagious and potentially deadly illness is spreading among dogs.
We are seeing a plethora of these infections, and it's concerning.
Officials say the mystery respiratory disease starts with a cough that can last for several weeks. In some cases, dogs develop pneumonia, which can progress quickly and become severe in as little as 24 to 36 hours. Other common symptoms include sneezing, nasal or eye discharge, and fatigue. So far, it's unknown what causes the illness, and it's largely been found to be unresponsive to antibiotics.
We're not finding just one bug that is causing all of these dogs to be sick.
Since August, more than 200 cases have been reported in Oregon. The illness has also been found in a number of other states across the country. In some cases, dogs have died, although it's unclear how many. At one Denver area hospital, vets say they've seen a spike in cases, now up to 3 a day. Some dogs become so sick that they need to be put on oxygen.
We are using our isolation ward heavily with all of these infections.
As researchers continue to investigate what's behind the unusual illness, vets are now encouraging dog owners to exercise caution.
Where we're seeing these cases come from in our hospital are from dogs that have been at boarding facilities or at doggy daycare. With the holidays coming up, people being more inclined to board their dogs as they go on vacation, as they go see family. I am worried about it getting much worse.
worse. To keep your pets healthy, experts say to avoid boarding your dog if you're traveling this holiday season and consider asking someone to dog sit instead. Make sure your dog is up to date on vaccinations, especially those that protect against respiratory illnesses. Watch your dog closely and head to the vet if you notice any symptoms. And if possible, keep your pets at home and avoid settings where they may come in contact with other dogs, including the dog park or the groomer.
The Oregon Department of Agriculture is working with other state and federal health authorities to investigate the cause of the illness. Once they determine that, researchers hope to be able to pin down exactly how it spreads. Again, vigilance is key right now, and vets say even though it's hard, it's important to try to keep your dog isolated from other dogs. Joe and Savannah.
All right, Liz Kreutz, thank you so much.
Thank you. Coming up, tragedy striking Taylor Swift's Eras tour stop in Brazil over the weekend.
What was behind the death of a fan during one of those shows and how the pop icon is responding? That's up next. We're back now with financial headlines. Elon Musk back in the headlines this morning after allegations of anti-Semitism on X.
CNBC's Silvana Hanau is back with us with that and other news. Hey, Silvana.
Savannah, Joe, good morning. Yeah, so Elon Musk is threatening to sue a media watchdog and others who he says have attacked his social media platform. Musk and X have been under fire over the past week for anti-Semitic and racist content that spread on the site since he bought it. Media Matters found ads from IBM, Apple, and others were placed next to posts promoting Adolf Hitler and Nazis. Musk also endorsed an anti-Semitic post on X. Several companies have suspended ads on X, including IBM, Disney, and NBC Universal parent Comcast. Media Matters says Musk admitted the ads ran alongside the pro-Nazi content, and if he sues, it will win. The head of General Motors' self-driving car unit has resigned. Kyle, though, is stepping down from Cruise, which recently had its license to operate on public roads suspended in California following an accident in which a robo-taxi ran over a pedestrian in San Francisco. Reports say Cruise allegedly withheld parts of the video footage from authorities. Cruise has halted all operations while it conducts a safety review. And more Americans are tapping their retirement savings to cover housing and medical bills due to higher cost of living pressures. The new report from Fidelity finds 2.3% of workers took a hardship withdrawal in the third quarter. That's up from 1.8% a year ago. Nearly 3% of people with 401ks took a loan against their account, up from about 2.5% a year ago. About 1 in 6 workers has an outstanding loan. Fidelity says Americans have run out of extra savings built up during the pandemic and have less for day-to-day and emergency expenses, guys.
All right, Silvana, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, Taylor Swift returned to the stage last night in Rio de Janeiro after a young fan tragically died at her concert there Friday night. Officials say the extreme heat was to blame.
NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa is here with more. Emily, good morning.
Good morning. Well, Swift says she was left shattered after a young fan died Friday. Authorities now investigating whether the record-breaking high temperatures there played a role, as the young woman's family is demanding accountability in her death, asking if enough was done to help her. Overnight, Taylor Swift returning to the stage in Brazil. Swift emotional at the massive crowd's reaction. The night before, on Saturday, the pop star canceling her concert at the last minute due to extreme temperatures and rescheduling the show for tonight, posting, "The safety and well-being of my fans, fellow performers and crew has to and always will come first." The point of caution followed the tragic death of a fan Friday in Rio, where the heat index reached a record-breaking 138 degrees. 23-year-old college student Ana Clara Benavides Machado reportedly collapsing as the concert began and later dying at the hospital. Fans describing the sauna-like conditions, pointing to this video, which seems to show Swift trying to catch her breath.
She could see the extent to which the crowd was struggling, and I believe that she was struggling herself.
Social media videos show attendees begging for water, Swift pausing the concert to throw a bottle into the crowd.
When somebody says they need water and it's this hot, they really need it.
Government officials there criticizing the conditions at the concert and ordering more water access for fans inside, as Ana Clara's father demands accountability, telling one local newspaper, "I wanted to be found out whether they were in fact prohibited from bringing water, whether there was negligence in providing assistance." The event organizers offered their sincere condolences, while Swift said on Instagram she was shattered by the tragedy, writing, "I can't even tell you how devastated I am by this. She was so incredibly beautiful and far too young." Last night, Swift playing a surprise song, the heartbreaking Bigger Than the Whole Sky. Fans speculating it may have been a tribute to Anna Clara. And in another tribute to all her fans, Swift appearing in a video message at the Billboard Music Awards Sunday. With 10 wins, she's now tied with Drake for the most Billboard awards of all time.
I feel like the luckiest person in the world to have you in my corner and caring about the music that I make.
And Swift reportedly was expected to attend the Chiefs-Eagles football game tonight in Kansas City, along with her parents and the parents of Travis Kelce. But now instead, she'll be performing her rescheduled show in Rio. No word yet if the families will still be at the game together. Understandably, a difficult weekend for the pop superstar, though.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Emily, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Obviously, a big week for football. So coming up, we're going to take you inside the game with one of the more thrilling assignments we have seen here at NBC News.
That's one word for it. After the break, our Jacob Soboroff takes to the skies for an adrenaline-pumping, behind-the-scenes look at the Denver Broncos parachute team. Stick around. Welcome back. One hound dog, or pit mix looking dog in this case, called Elvis, won't be lonesome tonight after he was adopted by someone with a special connection. So Elvis was the last dog left after an adoption event at Chicago's Anti-Cruelty Society shelter. The shelter took to Facebook in hopes of finding the 3-year-old a home. One of the people who saw this message was a former Elvis impersonator. Lauren, he's on the left in this photo here, and his partner decided they wanted to adopt Elvis. And of course, the shelter announced the news with the message, Elvis has left the building. So we wish Elvis all the best in his new home with his new family. So cute.
So cute. They're all smiling. A happy family.
I know. Look at
Love that so much. Thanks, Savannah.
Yeah.
All right, last night, the Denver Broncos beat my Minnesota Vikings 21-20, thanks to Russell Wilson throwing a game-winning touchdown in the final minutes. Well, this morning, we're getting an inside look at a very important part of the Broncos game day experience, their very own thunderstorm. The Broncos are the only NFL franchise with a parachute team. They skydive into Mile High Stadium before every home game to get the fans hyped. NBC News correspondent Jacob Soboroff went to Denver to get an inside look at how they train. Jacob, good morning.
Hey, what's up? Sometimes my bosses here at NBC come to me and say, are you available to cover a breaking news story? How about a medical breakthrough or a celebrity interview? And then there was the time that they said, how would you like to jump out of a perfectly good airplane from 12,000 feet? I had never been skydiving before, but the answer, of course, was yes. And that is how I wound up in Denver recently, ready to board a plane to share behind-the-scenes look, a bird's-eye look at the legendary thunderstorm. Last night, the Denver Broncos parachute team lit up the sky. Yeah! They brought high speed, high energy, and high drama to Mile High Stadium. Every week, Thunderstorm jumps from 5,000 feet at speeds of up to 60 miles an hour, dodging camera cables and field goal wires, with many anxiously waiting for them to land safely in the end zone. Kenyon Sallow and Rich Cervantes are Thunderstorm skydivers. How high are you when you can hear the crowd?
During certain games, when it's big enough, we've heard them as soon as we've exited the aircraft.
From thousands of feet in the air.
Yeah.
You can literally feel the vibration from the crowd when you're starting your turn. And when you land, it just gets louder and louder until your feet touch the ground.
Sallow and Cervantes have decades of experience between them. They say they recognize the risks of the job.
What we have to do, especially skydiving into the game, we have to take all the parameters, whether it's winds or clouds or just the night game in general, and we have to be able to put that into focus. So we don't let fear grab a hold of us.
My daughter asked me before I came here, she's 3, Dad, why are you jumping out of a plane? What is the answer that I should give her?
Because it's there.
Because it's there.
Why does a man climb a mountain?
You're going to be in that door. You're going to have all the emotions. They may be bottled up inside, but you will feel it, and then it will come out when you free fall, because that's when the excitement happens. Let's get you suited up and make it happen.
Let's go. I traveled about an hour outside of Denver to Thunderstorm's training center. I got to admit, the thought of suiting up might have given me some second thoughts. It was either that or the paperwork I had to sign. It's hard to type when the sweat from your hands is soaking the keyboard. I met my skydiving instructor, Ryan, who would be attached to me during our tandem jump. How many jumps have you done?
I've been skydiving for about 7 years, and I got right around 5,000 skydives. So we're going to go through a quick ground training and a quick ground briefing.
Ryan got me suited up. My breathing is steadily increasing. And walked me through what happens during the skydive.
So I want you to put your toes right on the edge.
Yep.
Perfect. So I'm going to rock us in, out, what that is.
Out.
Yeah. In,
out. Yep.
And so that's kind of our ready, set, go.
Okay.
The most important thing that I kind of also have to preface is in the event of an emergency, and that's inside or outside the airplane, take directions from me directly. Other than that, you ready to go skydive?
See, no jokes with that one. Yeah, I'm ready.
Perfect.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go skydive.
Okay. It's been really nice knowing you guys. Before I knew it, I was climbing into the plane with the other members of Thunderstorm. Oh boy. Time to take off. No turning back. And sitting in the airplane climbing to 12,000 feet, I started sweating. Getting close. Was I really about to jump out of a perfectly good airplane? Luckily, I didn't have long to contemplate life's bigger questions. My mind went blank. I was in front of an open door on an airplane, and then we jumped. Oh my God. Wow. You just completed the very first skydive. After 45 seconds of free fall, our parachute was open and we were soaring through the Rockies. Ryan, that's amazing. I have never experienced anything like this in my entire life. It's an extraordinary experience. I cannot believe I just jumped out of an airplane, Ryan. And then, as Thunderstorm promised, I was safely back on Earth. Ryan! My guy! That was epic, dude. That was amazing. Holy Are my hands shaking? That was amazing. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that in my life. I cannot believe they actually do this and then jump into the stadium. Walking off that field with Thunderstorm, I got to experience a little piece of what they do every week, reminding me to enjoy every moment on the ground. Thank you so much to the Thunderstorm and Mile High Skydiving for keeping me safe during the jump. It was ridiculous. It was awesome. If you're wondering why I didn't do the jump into Mile High Stadium, that's because the U.S. Parachute Association, they banned amateur skydivers from diving into professional sports stadium in 2009 after Shannon Sharp actually did a skydive into Mile High Stadium. He was the first and the last one to do it. I asked, I promised. Back to you.
Then I thought he was going to go into Mile High Stadium.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
You've never skydived before.
No, you either.
Any desire?
I would. I wouldn't say I'm like dying to do it, but I would do it.
I think I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
I feel like if they said you have to do this for work,
yeah.
they made me do equally crazy
I was going to say, you scale the building.
I did. Hang off of a skyscraper. Yeah, so exactly. So yeah, I think I would do it because it's one of those experiences. I don't think I've ever met anyone who did it who didn't love it and said it was an amazing experience.
Just say it's so incredible.
Exactly.
I do think those few seconds right before though, you're like,
oh my goodness, hanging over, looking out.
Why did I get myself into this situation?
And then they just go with you, and that's that. All right.
How fun though. Very cool.
All right, that's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now, so stay with us.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.